What's going on? We are back with some cooler graphics here to see a little bit. But we're back onto the moon, and I got Isham from Astroflipping, who has already completed a deal and is just moving and shaking and making things happen. I immediately got I resonate with this gentleman here you guys are about to meet. He's just a very intellectual and methodical person. So for all of you people out there who have been trying to get into wholesale, that are looking for a structured approach, an organized approach, a way to look at this from the granular way, the granular level, Isham's going to have some great insights for you. Isham, what's happening, bro? Good to see you, doggy dog. What's happening?
Bro, I'm living the dream. I'm out of the cold of Alaska and I'm in your backyard. I just flew into Phoenix this morning, so I'm stoked to be here.
I'm happy you're here, man. I can't wait to meet you in person tonight. It's going to be fun, and we're going to be doing something tomorrow as well. Alaska, bro, what kind of a flight was that?
A long one, man. It was a long one, and but it was good. I caught up on some work. Got a little bit of sleep in, so doing that red eye. But it's all good, man. I'm here and I'm ready to crush this thing, bro.
Amazing, amazing. So let's rewind everybody back because everyone's just like, Alaska? Yeah, guys, he lives in Alaska. Are you in Anchorage?
I am.
He's in Anchorage, Alaska, and it is beautiful there. I personally never been to Alaska, but I grew up in Canada, so I feel like I know a little bit about what Alaska might feel like, just a bit, just a little bit. But Isham, tell us how in Alaska you came to find wholesale real estate, how you came to find me, how you did your first deal, and what things have kind of progressed into, because I think this is a really important thing. People are definitely overthinking sometimes where they need to be geographically in order to do this business, and you getting it done from Alaska shows and disproves a lot of people's limiting beliefs about where they need to be located in order to get this done. So rewind us back, brother. Start us from the top.
Absolutely. And I was guilty of being an overthinker in the beginning. And so I'm happy to relate to some of the people out there. First of all, thank you so much for putting this platform on and giving us an opportunity to share our story, because I know someone out there is going to, resonate with that, and it could get them over the hump, to financial freedom for their family. So thank you for all you do, brother.
Of course, man. I'm happy to do this.
So my story, man, and thank you for allowing me to share it, man, because it's exciting. Everyone likes to tell their own story, and I think mine's, it's fun, and it's just getting started. So, man, I, like a lot of other people that I've heard in podcasts, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad years and years and years ago, like when it first came out, and was just blown away by the idea. I grew up a kid who didn't have any money. I didn't come from money. I didn't have friends or I didn't even know that was a possibility, but I wanted more. I wanted more out of life, brother. I did. I just didn't know how to do it, So, I read the book, I came across it, read it, and Robert Kiyosaki just planted that seed of real estate. And it just germinated over time. I knew that real estate was my exit. That was my way to wealth, so to speak. And so that began my journey, man. It's not like I dove right into real estate. Matter of fact, it wasn't until 15 years later till I did anything remotely real estate related.
Funny. So you read a book and it takes 15 years for that seed that got planted from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad before it sprouted into something. And you know what's funny? I read that book back in 2001. In 2002 is when I actually started taking action. For me, it didn't happen until I got an opportunity, right? So as soon as I saw an opportunity, I went for it. But I totally understand what you're talking about and how that book can be life-changing because it changes your perspective. So you're in Alaska, you read Rich Dad Poor Dad right when it comes out. What were you doing at the time?
I'm actually in Florida. So at the time, so I'm from Florida. I'm a Florida boy, a military brat, both my parents in the military. And it was just weird that both my parents were in the military, but we grew up broke. Like we really did grow up broke. Shout out, Mom. I know you're going to see this later. I love you, but we were broke. So nonetheless, I read this book, man. I'm in Florida, and I didn't see an opportunity at the time just because of the level of the personal development I was at, whatever, there's an acronym POOR, POOR, passing over opportunities repeatedly. And that's what I was doing. I just kept doing that. But I stayed true to my goal, right? So I knew I wanted to get into real estate. And I'm driving around in Destin, Florida, and I'm seeing all these big houses and developments and all this. And I'm like, man, I live on the other side of the tracks. Like, how do I get over here? And I kept seeing real estate, real estate, real estate. So I move forward in life. I do all these things. I join the military. I get all these jobs. Eventually, I get a job as a property manager. And that was my first taste in working in the real estate world and working for a broker. And just seeing his lifestyle turned me on even more, man. I'm like, this guy, he's doing deals, right? He's in the back. He just waltzes in at like 11:30. We've been here since 8. He does a deal and he leaves and he hops in his nice car and drives to the golf course. I'm like, that's the lifestyle, man. How do I get there? So anyways, man, we move forward and I get married, do the whole thing. And I actually get into business by myself. At this point, I leave my W-2s. I find myself courageous enough to fire my boss, so to speak. And I haven't had a job in the last 6 or 7 years. And it's funny because I'll talk about how I got in real estate really quick. But when you look back, instead of, I know some of us are in a spot right now where we're like, man, this isn't good and blah, blah, blah. But it's funny, if you just stay on path and you move forward, when you get to that spot and you look back, you're like, oh, I was supposed to be there.
Always.
I was supposed to be it. So that's where I was. So here we are. I move forward. I get into business. I have failures. I have successes. I learn about personal development. I start reading books. And then I moved to Alaska, right? The furthest place.
Why?
My wife's in the military, by the way. I should probably mention that. Yeah, so my wife's in the military. She moves me all over the world and our family. So we're in Alaska. And at this point, I'm not really hanging around with people just because of my associations. I try to keep them tight and I try to associate with mostly like-minded people. But there's some knuckleheads down the street that I go fish with. And I'm like, all right, I was hanging out with one of them and he shows me a TikTok video of Paul McComas, rest in peace. And Paul McComas is talking about how he's selling paper. He's selling paper for, he's flipping this contract for $10,000. And I'm not a money motivated person, so to speak. It's more so purpose. It's more so, cause motivation. I won't pass the money up, but that's never been, it wasn't like, oh, he's making all this money. I heard he was making money in real estate. I'm like, what's this wholesaling stuff all about? Because I'd heard about wholesaling before, but it was from the wrong person. That's a very important note. The wrong person with the wrong character brought it to me. And I attached my assumption of what wholesaling was to this person, right? And so I look into wholesaling and I asked him, hey, how did you hear about this? And he's like, oh, a buddy of mine in the Air Force, Jesse Stanton, shout out Jesse. Jesse's, he's crushing it right now, man. He's actually getting out of the Air Force. He's making so much money. I'm like, dude, like set me up a lunch meeting with this guy. So Jesse and I meet for lunch and like the next day, and I'm like, bro, spill the beans. Like, tell me everything you know. And I didn't want to just ask him just surfacey questions. So I wanted to dig deep and really kind of understand his mindset and why he chose this, how he got into it, what's it done for him and his family. And man, he said everything right. And so I immediately went home and I just started diving in, bro. I was right at a pivot point in my business where I'd left working with my friend, who I'm actually at his house right now. I was working at his clinic. He's a doctor, as his director of marketing. And I was shifting out of that and I was going to start my own marketing agency. Well, then I learn about wholesaling and I go to my wife. Now, the classic entrepreneur, I go to my wife and I'm like, babe, I'm not doing this. I'm doing this now. And she's like, oh God, like really? Like another thing. I'm like, no, like you don't know this about me, my own wife. You don't know this about me, babe. But I've been wanting to do real estate for the longest time. Like, and here's an opportunity. Here's my window. So, bro, Jamil, I just start studying, man. I start watching every YouTube video that I can come across because I wasn't trying to become, paralyzed, paralysis by analysis. I was literally trying to learn and understand this thing because I've never been one of those people that jumps and then tries to, build my wings on the way down. I don't mind jumping. I'd like to have the instruction booklet with me when I jump. I want to have.
I think that's a prudent way to be, really, though. Like you don't want to have a lot of surprises on the way once you cliff jump, right? So So you've got the instruction manual.
Absolutely. Especially a person like me, an overthinker, a person who doesn't want to be embarrassed, you know?
Right.
And so anyways, yeah, I get the manual and I get loud. You know, I did one of the things I heard you say on a podcast is get loud, get your word out there. So right when I'm starting wholesaling, right when I'm starting real estate, I make a Facebook post and I just announced to all my friends and family, hey guys, this is a new venture I'm doing. I'm super excited about it. Here's how it is. Here's how you can help me. You know, I'm working in this market. I didn't even know what market I was working at the time. Working in this market, and I just need you to send me ugly houses, right? So of course I'm getting like a bunch of for sale signs and people sending me pictures of stuff I didn't know what to do with. When lo and behold, I got a phone call from a friend of mine. And he's like, hey man, I was driving Uber in Daytona Beach, which is like 6 hours away from me. And he's like, and I just happened to have a guy in my back seat who said he was selling a house and maybe you guys can connect. I was like, did you get his number? He's like, yeah, I'm like, bet. So I call the guy. He doesn't answer. Text him, text him, text him. Nothing. And finally, like a day later, he's like, who is this? And I tell him the whole deal. And I'll make a really long story short. I end up going under contract with him. And I'm watching the videos like as I'm doing this, like, oh crap, how do I fill out a contract? Where do I get one from? I went to Brent Daniels' site, TTP, and downloaded the contracts from there. I'm like, all
Awesome.
right, I got a contract. So yeah, sent the contract over. We went into escrow. My first deal was, and I don't know if I can curse on this, so I'll just say an S show, a crap show. It was gnarly. Everything that could have went wrong went wrong. I sent the wrong contract. I tried doing DocuSign, but I didn't do it right. So I looked like a total idiot, I'm sure. But nonetheless, all these lessons I was learning, it's okay to make mistakes. People, you know, it's okay to be new. It's okay to be honest with people. Because had I gone in there and been like, yo, I'm this experienced flipper, and I would have made the mistakes I would have made, I would have flagged, you know, and you know, everything would have went south. But I was honest with the person. Found a buyer, and boom, I got a deal. You know, I get $10,000 wired into my account. I'm like, holy crap,
This is
this is
real.
real. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I got the 10 grand. Now, about a week before the money was hitting, I was pretty certain it was going to hit. And it's funny because something you said in one of your interviews a long time ago is I'm sure you share this a lot. You said that you thought you had invented wholesaling in Canada,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I thought I invented Dispo first. I literally did. When my buddy told me, Jesse, when I sat down with him at the restaurant, he told me how he wholesales. I said, so what if they don't find a buyer in the first 30 days? And he's like, well, that's the great thing about this is your inspection period, you know, you can get out of it. And that's when I was immediately like, oh, that's where people are getting in trouble. Like I just knew like that's the rub. How can I overcome that? And I thought, man, if I can just find a buyer first and then just go kind of shop for what that buyer needs, I'll never have to go to someone and lie and say, hey, I'm going to buy your house and go run and try and find a buyer. I'll just do it backwards. Like, why isn't anyone else doing that? So I thought I had invented the idea. And I was listening to a Max Maxwell podcast, and that's what I learned about you. And you told your story, and I'm like, oh my God, like not only does someone else out there do it this way, but he has a beast of a company, like the number one wholesaling company in the nation. Like, like this is my guy. Okay, I gotta just figure out what this guy's doing. So I started listening to your podcast specifically. I was kind of weeding out everyone else, just digging into your brain. And man, when I learned about your heart and how you connect with people and just your whole vibe, man, you didn't come for money. You've grown into it. You know, I'm like, that's my North Star. That's the guy. Not even gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Every time I find someone, my number one goal is to beat that person. So
Great.
if I find like the guy, I'm like, I'm gonna do everything in my power the next 20 years to be better than him.
That's all I want. That's
Well,
listen, it's funny that you said that because a protege of mine that I once hired at Keegley, who then went on and, did great things. He was sitting across from me at his job interview. And he said to me, I'm like, what's your goal? What do you want? What are you trying to do? He's like, I want your job. I want to sit where you sit and I want to do better. I'm like, oh, really? Have at it. Come on. I hired the guy,
right?
and he did take my job. And so well that it gave me an opportunity to find a new job, which was, sharing. And if that gentleman hadn't come into my life and done what I did better, I wouldn't have been freed to do this and to have shared my skills and my knowledge with the world, right? And so I appreciate that. I in fact, I hope that you come and beat me so that you can take my place, and then I can evolve into something else. It's not that I don't love what I do, but we all grow. We all have places to go, right? And so I love that. I love the ambition, and I think that with that heart and with that goal and that intention, you'll get there. I don't believe that people with good intention and with the right action fail. I don't.
That's awesome insight. Thank you for that, brother. I'm definitely inspired and encouraged by that. I know they're massive shoes to fill, but I just love that.
It's only a 10.5 actually. So I don't know.
so I get the deal, man. I get the deal, and the deal lands. And at this point, I learned about Keegly, and then I learned about Astro. And I'm a systems guy coming from the military, all the businesses that I built or that I helped build. My number one priority was to introduce systems into the business. And then, systems, I'm all about acronyms: save yourself some time, energy, and money. And that's what they do. And so I'm like, man, if I can just get a system instead of trying to recreate the wheel myself, I can just find someone who's doing it. Why not find the number one guy? And so I joined Astro literally just to hopefully get like a few PDFs, on, okay, this is what you do, and blah, blah, blah. That's all I wanted. So I called and I found out the price. I'm like, okay, that's nothing. Like, let's go. Like, that's totally doable. Joined Astro, and then talk about under promising and over delivering. My gosh, everyone talks about week one. Week one was a game changer, bro. Like a total blessing. I cannot believe that you pack so much value into your course, and it has nothing to do with real estate the first week. Week one was a game changer for me. I wanted to sign my family up for Astro just so I can have them go through week one.
Just let them do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
That's a gift, bro. That first week of that course is listen.
Wow.
If I could share that with the world for free, I would. That week, because it would raise the consciousness of the planet.
For sure.
It truly. Listen, for those of you that don't know, I'm a ex-alcoholic rager. Okay, complete. Things would set me off. I'd flip my lid. I drank too much. I was a total nothing good. And what week one did, and the work that I did that created week one, changed my life, changed everything about me. And it's why I get to be who I am today. It's how I changed. And it's like, I think one of the greatest bait and switches I ever did in the history of info and coaching was put that in there, because forget the real estate. The real estate is like next level. But what we're going to do to you as a human, game changer.
Bro.
You're right.
Bro. Wow. Incredible. Whew, I'm glad you took some time to talk then, because I got pretty emotional with you telling me that. That's dope. Thanks,
it's real, man.
Man, so yeah, I'm in Astro and I'm learning all this stuff. I'm like, everything I learned from the YouTube videos was direct to seller, right? And then right around the same time, Secret Agent 2.0 is kicking off. It was interesting because right around the same, I keep saying right around the same time, my kids got out of school, right? And I work from home, and I didn't want to be a half-assed
How many kids
dad.
you got?
2.
What are
6
they?
and 8.
6 and 8?
Yeah, 6-year-old boy, 8-year-old, beautiful daughter. So
amazing.
Yeah, man. But they were home for the summer. And so I'm like, crap, man, I knew that me being new in this, I was going to need to give it my all. And I was either going to be a all in dad and just out of the business, or a half-assed dad and, trying to piece this business. So I took the 3 months off, and I took that time to slow down and speed up, to just learn. I learned the course. I watched as much as I could over and over and over again. And just soaked it all in. And then I learned about agent outreach. I'm like, crap, man, like I didn't learn that way. Like, the whole thing that I've been studying was direct to seller, and I got batch leads, and I can pull all these lists and all this stuff. So now I need to do this agent outreach. But I get it. Like, I get Jamil's point. Instead of climbing the banana tree and chopping down a banana, just set up some nets and shake that bad boy every now and again and just collect your bananas. And so agent outreach, I'm like, agent outreach it is. So I reach out to my friends in Florida, because I got a little network there, and I'm like, hey guys, I don't know what I'm doing. These are all agents, by the way. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I need to call you guys and tell you, kind of, here's the deal. You guys are my friends, so I can be honest with you. But I just was kind of testing the waters to see what they thought. Hey, if I were to call you and ask you this, how would you handle it? How would you approach it? Because I'm that over analytical guy. And so they all kind of gave me their feedback. And then a couple weeks later, I get a phone call from one of my agent friends, and he said, "Hey, man, that the off market stuff you're doing, the wholesaling." He's like, "I just got a property that I haven't put it out to market yet, but I want you to take a look at it." And so for sure I did. I look at it, I'm like, man, this is a deal. Like, but we got to get the price lower. And he's like, no, 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 no. Comps. This is right when the market was swinging. He's like, no, man, I can sell this thing right now for 675. I'm like, bro, no, you can't. No way you're gonna sell this thing for 675. Long story short, we ended up locking it up at 450. Yeah, 450. And then sold it to a buyer. And that was my second deal. And so we just did our third deal. We're actually we've got a bunch more in escrow. I think we got another one closing pretty soon. So we're creating a machine, man. All thanks to you, brother. Thank you so much.
Wow, dude. Wow. What a thing, and it's funny that you started off agent outreach testing the waters with friends. And it's usually friends that kill your dreams, guys. The thing that Isham has is, you can tell he's got a really supportive network of people, right? Normally what happens when you call your friends and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" They say, "Never going to work." And the reason why friends do that is because they don't work. They don't do it. They never understand what it takes, the grit that it takes, the amount of fortitude that it can require in order for you to get out there and be successful at this, right? At the same time, you're providing value to a lot of real estate agents who wouldn't be able to bring liquidity to a situation like that, right? Like a house like that's in that condition can get financed, right? Nobody can go get a conventional loan on it. And usually when you put stuff like that on the MLS, the reason why sellers dislike it is because now you've got all these buyers traipsing through, and people coming in and beating them up and getting inspections and then retrading. And it's just a lot of hardship. It's a lot of traffic, and it's just a lot of unknowns. It's a lot of uncertainty, and it's tough on sellers. It really is. What we provide is the solution. And with the market shifting right now, agents need us. They need us to bring the buyers to the table. And so the fact that you've been able to create for yourself this business model, and you've got your second, third, and you got more deals in escrow. How's it been looking, right? What does it look like today? How much have you been making on your deals, and what is this shaking into?
Yeah, it looks great. So I made 10K on the first one, 8,000 on the second one, and I think 8,000 on the third one as well. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's been,
Bro, like, that's just the thing, right? Is that there's nothing out there like this. There's nothing out there where you can make 10 grand, 8 grand, 8 grand, and make enough money to, like, be able to be at home, be a dad, be present, to have the time freedom to be able to do that while your wife is protecting and serving the country.
absolutely,
All of these things are incredible, brother.
absolutely.
And I from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for believing in yourself. Because had you not read that book, had you not had the confidence to walk up to your wife and say, "There's this thing I really want to do," And had she not believed in you, because you are obviously a good dude, right? And even spouses, I said friends typically kill your dreams, spouses do it as well. But the reason why friends and spouses kill your dreams, guys, is because they don't believe in you. They don't. But you could see Isham's friends believed in him. Isham's wife believed in him. And because they believed in him, because of the guy he is, he was able to actually make it happen. Now, for the rest of you out there who are having your friends and family poo-poo your dreams, take a look at yourself and find out why. Why is it that the people that are closest to you don't believe in you? What about it? What have you shown them? What's your track record? What do you got to do? What do you got to do next to prove to you and everybody in your life that you're not that guy? Because let me tell you something. I'm not Isham. I was the guy that people shouldn't have believed in. I was the guy who didn't show up. I was the guy who, and when I did show up, I was stinking like booze and I had a hangover. That's who I was once upon a time, and I'm a different man today. I'm a different dude, and we all evolve, we all change, and we all find our way to our purpose. Isham, you did it. I am so proud of you. And now I heard you're going to start a podcast.
It started, yeah. If you don't mind, man, I'd like to just take 1 second and just double back on something you said.
Please.
I'll be real quick. I didn't have a supportive group of friends. I did not have a supportive wife. I mean, we went through the ringer. There were times where I'm like, it'd be so much easier for me to just peace out. This happy, smiley guy that you're seeing now, I've been this way, but it hasn't. It's been a fun road. And so my encouragement is this: your associations are everything. I mean, they're everything. So if you're hanging around a bunch of knuckleheads who don't believe in you, you got to disassociate from those people and get around the people who will believe in you, who do believe in you. This is the community for sure, without a doubt. So get rid of those friends, because they're not helping you any. They're truly not. You can't get rid of your spouse, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing I could do about that with her. What
but you
I
could prove, you could prove to her that you could prove it.
100%.
And you did.
That's all I did. I was like, look, I'm going to make this thing work. And I was so charged to make it happen because I knew I had to prove it to her, because this is something I wanted to do. My partner, Tanner, and I were just talking the other day, and we were saying, you know, what's funny? This is the first thing in life that we've ever dove into that the option of quitting isn't even a thing. Like, it's like you don't quit on your kids. Like, who's thought about quitting on their kids? Who's ever thought, man, I should just drive away from my, no one thinks about that. You know, like that's
there's
how
people
we are
who
with
have,
this
though.
business.
I mean,
yeah,
there's you know, guys like us don't do that, but there's guys out there who have, you know, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and the majority of people, you know, you'll do anything for your kids, right? You believe in it. You'll push through everything for them. That's how I feel in this business. That's how we feel in this business. Like, no matter what, we're gonna figure this thing out. And so I just say, have that, do whatever it takes, become obsessed with this thing, learn, get out, do it, but just have that, I will not ever give up on my family and my dreams. Just keep going.
Man, I love that, bro. How can people get a hold of you? How can they watch your podcast? How can we do deals with you? Tell us everything.
Yes. So our podcast is called The Wholesale Elite. I'm not sure when this one's going to drop, but we are launching November 1st.
Yeah.
And we got the cool thing about our podcast is we're not just tactics. You know, there's plenty of podcasts, you know, where you can hear, here's how to do this. Here's how to blah, blah, blah. We dive into the mind, because that was the one thing that separated, I knew is the one thing that separated all the winners in this business and the people that stay long-term, is they have the right mindset. And so in our podcast, I interview people like you, Jamil, and just a bunch of other people that are crushing it, just because I want to dive into their mindset and understand, how did you get here? How did you go from a person who was boozing it up all the time to now making $500,000 a month, you know, in personal income? Like, that's crazy to me.
It's great.
So I need to know what's between those ears. And so that's what our podcast is all about. The Wholesale Elite. It's a weekly podcast. Love for you guys to check it out. How you can work with us. We only work in Florida. Florida is our only market, but we do everywhere in Florida. We truly do. My partner, Tanner, is a stud. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you know me, probably know him. He's actually new to Astro. We just brought him into the world here recently. But you
it.
can reach us, obviously I'm the only Isham on Facebook other than my dad. He's on there too. But
Wow,
don't
my
get
parents aren't
confused.
on Instagram, so that's
I
cool.
know, right? So let me get my phone number out. I'm gonna
Please
throw
do
this
it.
out there. I was
Please do
debating,
it.
should I do this or not? So I'm at 850-797-5066. You guys got deals in Florida? Let's go. Like,
Come
we
on,
actually
baby.
work with wholesalers, and we'll jump on a Google Meet. We'll share screen and comp your deal with you instead of just saying, no, that price doesn't work. We actually help people. So
amazing. Guys, reach out to these folks in Florida. They got deals. They got business. They got buyers. They're ready to do deals with you. Check out their podcast to learn how the mind works of all the wholesale elite. Isham, you've been a pleasure of a guest, bro. Congratulations for making it to the moon. I love you, man.
Thank you, brother. I love you. Peace,
guys. Till the next time, we out.
We out.
Thanks for watching another one of my YouTube videos. Now it's your turn to go out and take some action. But before you do, like and subscribe to my channel, because the law of reciprocity means you owe me.